Used to be the one they all love to hate on, but now I work hard and I never take a day off. Y'all consider me as nothing but a target till I'm locked and loaded ready. If these motherfuckers want it, they said hip-hop's dead. I disagree with that statement, so don't repeat that shit again. And think of me when you say it, cause I'm the reason that it's breathing. Put it back on the stretch of the real deal.
All right, guys, what's going on? I am the one, the only, the WOOKIE. Slightly frustrated, but we figured it out, so yay, we figured it out, kinda.
Yay.
But we got Drazcore.
What's going, guys?
We got Sheep.
Yay!
He's tired. He's well past his bedtime. I gave him a melatonin and a shot of NyQuil, so he's about ready to go to bed. We got Ewok.
Hello, Keyforge community.
He's also tired, but for a different reason. And we got Z.
You did not go in order of the chat.
Yes, I
yeah,
did.
I'm here.
Sure did.
Backwards.
That's the order on my screen.
It's just a random order on my screen.
No.
Yeah, it
Well,
was backwards on my screen. But
This-
you're
this-
fine.
backwards on my screen.
But
This is
that's the
riveting
order
for our
on
listeners.
my screen. So, with that
That's the
being
most important thing to me since I was ready like 30 minutes ago.
do you? I know we were all why so ready, but we got buckets to go over today, so we're gonna get right into it. JR, why don't you kick us off?
Most definitely. So as soon as we finished recording last time, I immediately remembered I had a huge fail, and that is we need to send a huge congratulations to Call of Discovery for hitting the century, 100 episodes. Woo! So that's a huge accomplishment. Congratulations, Zach and Ed. And you guys did it in sing-song fashion. So if you guys have not checked that podcast out, go ahead and check out Call of Discovery. And a lot of fun with that episode, getting to know kind of the origins for both Ed and Zach, and then some songs to go with it.
Yeah, when they were first talking about doing a musical episode, I sort of said to myself in my head, I'm like, no way that's going to be good. And then they actually did a really good job. I was impressed. So yeah.
They're both very talented,
Mhm.
and they beat our boy band. So way to go, gents.
Hold on. You have not let me flex my musical muscles. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. We gotta do a Keyforge boy band.
I have
something
not-
out
I'm
of-
quitting the band to do a solo project.
Okay. That's not zero people were surprised at that. By the way, no one was surprised. But do want to let you guys know more content is over on the YouTube channel. Also, you can find some content over on the Patreon. I believe another episode dropped today. If Keyforge decides to cooperate, which lately it hasn't, we'll actually release those episodes on the YouTube channel. But until then, we'll see what happens. We had the big news drop, which we'll get into here in a little bit. So that kind of took the place of some of the scheduled episodes. But if you're a patron, you get to see those episodes. $5 a month or more, you get to see those. Actually, we only have a $1 and $5 tier because Z freaked out.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yep.
Wookie, I am proud of you for putting up more content. I mean, I was going to make a joke about your like Wild Wormhole coming out and doing 2 episodes in a row and third in a year, and you're nailing the YouTube material. So way to go, man!
Have
Hey, what's going on,
had,
guys?
that's the YouTube channel. Let's see. I've had 3 videos in like 2 weeks.
That's why I'm saying
or
you're
something
doing
like
awesome.
that.
That was the joke.
I don't know if I can continue to pump it out at that rate, but we'll see. We're gonna go into. We're gonna skip the filler. I'm sorry. You can play in Swindle. There's a new Swindle coming up that'll be called Doppelganger. If we have time for that, at another episode, we'll go over that. And then the KFPL 75 SAS Cap event. Do people still have time to sign up for that?
That's
Reversal.
75 SAS reversal.
Mhm.
High SAS reversal.
SAS floor reversal, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so SAS floor reversal. So you still do have time to sign. Do they have time to sign up? That was the question.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So yes, you have still time to sign up for that. And all members of actually, we don't know. Z, are you guys still in?
Team's ass.
The
Seal
ABR
them.
Yeah.
thing? Yeah, I think so. Pretty sure.
I was just gonna say I think all members of Team Archon's Corner are out of ABR, but Z still thinks
We
he's in.
haven't been paying that much attention to it, but I'm pretty sure at this moment in time we are not eliminated.
Have you played your games?
I have not played mine. One player I know has played it and got wrecked because our Archon slot was not good. I have no idea whether Nova has played hers.
All right. So you're
And
probably the rubber match, would be my guess.
And I will say for Swindle, it is a phenomenal group. So please please go ahead and check out Doppelganger. It looks really cool. I know we're not going into details here, but great way to be able to support others in the Keyforge community. So keep up the good work there.
All right. People, you guys have been asking for it. And it's making its triumphant return. I am in the middle of making a little jingle for this. I've just been unsuccessful as to how to do it. But it's why I suck at Keyforge. Boys, you got any moments?
I just got wrecked.
Yeah. I thought we were getting them from nobody sending anything in.
No, nobody sent anything in, but I don't think we needed anything to be sent in this week.
There was plenty of sucking right here on the podcast.
Wait. I watched a game where you sucked, didn't I?
Oh yeah, no. This is hands down.
Me? No,
I was screaming. I was screaming at you, Wookie, while I was going through my time that was supposed to be calming me down. Like, what are you doing? You even called out some of the correct plays, and then you're like, no.
Said the moves I wanted to make.
Yep.
And then didn't make them all.
I didn't know you were recording that or whatever, but I was just like, I left. I just couldn't watch it anymore. It's like exit game fast.
Like, so I had everything kind of set up where I wanted it in game 2. Game 1, I didn't even look at the deck list. Game 2, I looked at the deck list. Or it might have been mid game 1.
Well,
because you know, I don't look at deck lists, so.
And it's Archon, so you should look at deck lists. So that's the first reason why we suck at Keyforge. Number 2, you went through game 1, but the end result is you would know what the outs are and what your opponent's playing for if you look at the deck list. But 2 is Candle Unit. Now you called it. You said, "Hey, this is my only out," and then you chose to reap when you needed to use your action in order to capture. So
I made a misclick. I was moving too fast on TCO. And I messed that up game 1. The bigger punt was game 2.
Yeah, but what you can do, so for all of our audience listening, you can just, hey, I said action, so click that one card first and do action right away, and then you can do everything else. And I know you said, hey, it doesn't really matter. It would have extended the game.
Because all he has to do is reap once, and I'm done, right? I have no answers after that.
I get you, but you never know that maybe the next hand you end up with an out. And so that's why you keep playing.
The biggest thing is, JR, I wouldn't have been drawing any cards because I didn't have any logos in hand, I don't believe. So it didn't matter either way.
But game 2, talk to us through your thought process here, my friend.
Well, I think I talked plenty about my thought process during the video. I knew that a Shrix...
that was so bad.
I knew a Shrix Scutum tribute was coming. So I have a card in my hand that I knew that would stop all that and force a game 3. Because if I stop that, I don't think he stops me any other way. So I force a game 3.
And what is that card again?
That'd be called Stealth Mode. Which would allow him not to play any actions on his subsequent turn.
Yeah, and however, tribute is an action. So that's
however, to use Stealth Mode, you have to playing the cards is using the cards. So if you don't play a Stealth Mode, and you think you played Stealth Mode, but you didn't, you find out real quick that tribute can be played after that. Because it wasn't, I'm like, oh, he can't play tribute. Oh, it's weird he's going into dinosaurs. Wait a minute. Why is Stealth Mode still in my hand? And at one point I went, oh, I must have played it and drawn another one. Because there's 2 in the deck. And then I realized I never played it. Yeah. So
this is why we suck at Keyforge.
Play your cards. Actually play them. Play them. Yeah, so that's my why I suck at Keyforge moments. Don't forget, send your why I suck at Keyforge moments to archonscorner@gmail.com. You can either just write them out, or you can maybe even record them on your cellular device or other thing and send them in. We'll plug them into the show for everybody to listen to. And that should be fun. Anyways, let's move on to what everybody's really here for.
What's that?
So, GG. That's what we're gonna call them affectionately now, GG, because nobody can pronounce their name. It's just next to impossible.
Pronounce it.
Yeah, nobody can pronounce it.
Ghost Galaxy. It's very hard.
Nope, nobody
Okay.
can. Nope, not
Okay.
even. Nope.
Impossible.
It's impossible. Anyways, they released another article talking a little bit more about tokens. Now, again, we released a video. You can go watch that over on our YouTube channel, Archons Corner, where we talk a bit about it. And we're going to go into a little bit more depth today. So we found out a little bit more about tokens. Any kind of surprises here?
It wasn't a surprise to me initially, but like there was a lot of flack about the token image being printed on the back
don't like
of
it.
the cards.
I hate it.
Because of symmetry or something. Me, who barely recognizes there's even art in this game, didn't notice at all, really. But
there's art on the back of these cards?
It got a lot of traction in our...
Z had to rush to all his decks to make sure all of them had art on the back.
Wow, it does have a color.
I didn't know.
Like...
So I do think this comes to a typical design concept where if you change a design that somebody is very, very used to, and you make it you either make a neutral change or a moderate improvement, many people will consider it worse because it's not what they're used to.
Yeah,
I think there's some of that
the biggest
going on.
example of what you're saying as far as like a moderate improvement is the Archon list for Dark Tidings, and only Dark Tidings, is actually way more functional than the old list. But there were people complaining about that change, which I think is a very good...
about that?
I have met people that have complained about it for sure.
I liked it because of
and online.
My old man, I just couldn't take that small font.
Yeah, it was a functional change. You made it where you could see the full deck list without the wraparound from House 2. But yeah, there were people that complained about that, and that was a moderate, positive, functional change. Whereas there's a lot of people that love the symmetry, they love the art. So now the back of set 6 cards, the actual Archon art for the deck cards will be like shrunken so that the token image could fit in the top left, which is not symmetrical with 3 house images that are on the top right, for what it's worth. Like, I couldn't care less. My cards that I care about will have an opaque sleeve, so it doesn't matter.
Well, that is something we talked about on the video, because we're like, how does this functionally work when you are in, quote unquote, a high level tournament where you are not allowed to use clear sleeves?
Well, it's not for us.
Yeah, it's
like
for
in tournaments, right? Yeah, it's for kitchen table stuff.
Yeah, well, and at my casual when I play sealed, I don't sleeve those decks. Like, I just play them.
And there are many people like that. This really meets the casual gamer. For the competitive gamer, you're going to have those opaque sleeves, and you'll still be able to see your token creature, but it makes it really easy because that token creature icon will be on the backs. So I think that it is not aesthetically pleasing to me, and change is difficult, but I think this helps the casual gamer. That's where I'm at.
Also found out that Hortensia, is that the name? Hortensia,
Dame Quartz Rudder.
It is not a real deck. We found that out, right? It's nowhere to be found in the Master Vault.
Yeah, I checked the Master.
That's not in the Master Vault.
Not yet.
I'm just asking. I mean, it doesn't hurt to do a little investigative journalism.
This deck is on Christian Peterson's desk.
That's just on his desk, just hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it has that Groggins in it too.
Well, to be honest, I was hoping that it would be in the Master Vault, and it was just a little slip, and we'd be able to see some of the other card types. But it wasn't
this isn't FFG, my guy.
That also means that they would have been. That would have meant that they'd have been way ahead of schedule, because they would have actually rendered a deck that hit the Master Vault. That would have been great news,
right? And I don't think they actually have access to the Master Vault for that yet, really, because that's still hosted over on
an FFG server.
Yeah, Icky website.
I will say for the Archon, so for me, it bothers me that it's smaller Archon. That I did notice, and the iconography, so the icons for the houses being in the top right. So I get where people were frustrated with it, but
Well, and
again,
I think I saw one of the comments in the Discord. Like it literally overlaps the token too. It's not
Mhm.
just that it's like the third house that's being off-centered. It's not even centered vertically on the card, is what people
No.
were saying. Like the third house icon that's just kind of floating, not in the middle of the card, is what was bothering. Like I guess out.
Well, that
Well,
third
and I
house
can get
isn't
that.
centered. It's
They're-
not centered either. It's a
I
little bit
liked
canted
the
to right.
asymmetry aspect of it, but I also don't suffer from any OCD things where symmetry matters to me that much. I like the I like the look. I just don't understand the point of it, and even to a non-competitive player, like you know that
Well, I mean,
you
the
only
point
get
of
one
it.
copy of a token card when you buy Magic packs. It's not like they give you enough tokens to play all your token
Well,
creatures in
like the
Magic.
point of
here.
it makes sense to me. It is if you're playing without sleeves cards, when you play it onto the battlefield as a token, it looks like a creature. Like
Yeah.
that's what the point is.
Yeah,
And
I think it's a
that
good
makes
idea.
sense. And I'm fine with all of that. Like I do to some extent understand like people's symmetry thing. Like they literally could have shrunken the Archon down to the circle and just make that everything above the circle be exactly like the token picture and put the house symbols at the bottom just like the Archon card. And that I think would have solved people's like main issue with like the aesthetic part being an issue. But I
I
don't really care at all.
say I'm in the
about
camp
this.
that doesn't care. At first, when I looked at it, I'm like, "Ew, gross. These are not good."
Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully OP kits will come with full art sleeves for
Yeah,
for your
was it-
tokens
That
and stuff like that. Right?
that is what I hope. That I hope as consumers of this game that actually do like to play with nice things that we get, which was another thing we're about to spoil, like the number of tokens, like that many different ways to buy sleeves for these cards. Because say like whatever my best deck in set 6 ends up being, I would love to sleeve it in the entire deck in that token because that would look cool. Assuming the token actually looks cool, I guess. Most of the tokens have looked cool. So like I wouldn't mind having the option to either purchase or win. I'd rather it be purchased so that all of us could be playing with those. But win's fine too, unless those are like I guess if that was what was pushed out to the store level where we'd all have a lot of chances to get those sleeves, that would be awesome. So that would be a great idea.
Well,
I
I
will
mean,
s-
there
I will
is
s-
Dragon
I will s-
Shield has you can make your own sleeves. So I mean, if you ever want to make them,
Not-
you can.
Sure. But like that, it's stuff that is in the OP kits that people might be like, "Ooh, I want to win this week because there's only one more grunt pack of sleeves left, and like if I win, I can pick that out of the box, right? And that'll match my deck, right? Like
Yeah, in
that
bulk,
sort of
like
thing.
if you're as a card producer, like producing those in bulk is actually fairly cheap for the company. So like that would be like if each month there's like one pack of each house's tokens, like that would actually be a lot. But being able to win them from month to month would be a reason people would show up to a store, pay $10+ to play in an event to win them for sure.
All
My
right,
players would show back up.
and we did find out there are going to be 28 possible different tokens, as we already kind of figured that, which
28.
4 per
That's a big
house,
number.
7 houses, 28.
Yeah, 3 of them being common with 1 having that linked rarity, which I think is important. 28 is kind of an odd number. I know Z, you were talking about that with some of the numbers.
It just means that the likelihood that you're going to get a certain token that you happen to like really want or love is lower. But we haven't seen all the tokens. There are some pretty good tokens so far that we've seen. I think the only house we have all 4 of is Mars.
Mars.
Mars has 2 that are pretty good out of their 4. We've
Dan
only
loves
seen.
Grunt. Dan loves Grunt.
Oh, it's Blorb. Blorb's where it's at.
I like to grunt.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think the Grunt's decent too. So I guess Mars has 2 good ones and a decent one, and then a bad one. Like that's pretty good as far as a ratio if Mars is your token.
Yeah. We also found out exactly how tokens are going to interact. So token creatures behave exactly like normal creatures when they are in play. They can be used to fight, reap, or for their printed action ability. Each token creature can also be independently affected by damage or status conditions, such as stun and enrage. Effects that target creatures can target token creatures. While your token creature is in play, you can look at their reverse side. So you, as the player, are allowed to know what card is your token creature.
They definitely heard the community. You can actually see it bolded on the document. So I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, because I still don't think anywhere in a rule book does it say that you can look at the down card under Jargogle or Master Plan. It's been answered through various emails over the years, but I don't think that's in a rule book anywhere. So I am very, very appreciative the new owners of the game have stated that this is a thing in a public forum. So that's great.
All right, we're going to skip a little bit ahead because it talks about one of the spoilers we're going to go through. But it says you can take control of your opponent's token creatures through game effects, just like any other normal creature. If you take control of an opponent's card that makes token creatures, but your deck does not include its own token because it came from a set other than Winds of Exchange, then the make a token creature effect does nothing. In such situations, you simply follow the standard rule of do as much as you can. So, what was that? 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had like a little blurb saying like there was going to be a standardized like token for
Yeah,
every
that actually
card. Go ahead.
So that actually had come on Twitter, if I'm correct, and it was from Tyler, who was one of the FFG game designers. So we know that there's some impact. I think that statement that other sets will not have a generic token was pretty big news, to be 100% honest. What do you guys think about other sets not being able to make a generic token?
I think it
That's
makes
kind of how I
sense.
thought it was going to happen.
That was my original assumption before we heard what we had heard. I think that's more in line with like the way DT is supposed to play, as far as like if you're playing offset, you have some kind of intangible advantage by being the onset with the tide. I mean, I'm fine either way. I didn't think from what I was seeing that your opponent, even if you gave them a generic token, that mattering that much for that player. The whole design of the way the tokens are is that these cards are getting value by making them intrinsically, like for the way the decks are going to be played. So I didn't think it mattered that much either way. But
I didn't think it mattered a ton to have a generic 1 power do nothing token. However, there has been a lot of talk from the community in regards to corner the market, which does fall as a spoiler. So if you're not aware, you need to cover next 37 seconds cover. Yeah. But it specifically says do something, and then at the end it says each time they discard a card from their hand, they make a token creature. So that's where a lot of the frustration is around, because that card looks like it's going to need to be changed or modified.
It's not.
They have replied that they're modifying that card.
Yes.
Oh, have they really?
Yeah, they have replied to somebody's question.
Didn't we?
And that's what
a card that basically said during your opponent's turn they cannot play cards.
Yeah. So the card, during your opponent's next turn they cannot play cards.
That's what corner the market is. We had a card in Coda that did the exact same thing, did we not?
No, but the key word here is then each time they discard a card from their hand, they make a token creature. And so they're saying if you're out of sets, you can't make the token creature. So it would just be a turn skip. So they have to modify it.
Well, it's not turn skip, but it's more.
Well, but you're not playing a card. So
like my worry is like I hope the modification, like some people had some suggestions in chat, like I'm excited about like that being a power dynamic introduced in the game that we don't have, because like from Go, Keyforge has been about like big swingy plays, things that you have to try to prepare for, try to answer for, and like those are the fun moments of Keyforge. Like I like the idea of introducing the new card. Trying not to spoil like too much. So I hope however they change it keeps what the card does to the other player in effect. it just gives them other options, which some of the people in our Discord have suggested. The thing I found the most, I think, equitable is instead of like having it when you discard a card, make a token, and then they added the words or archive a card. That would be a very valuable thing you're giving them, comparable to what making a token would be for most decks as far as the value level we've seen at the moment.
Isn't Corner of the Market a rare?
Yes.
I'd say leave it as is. That's my opinion.
I mean, they've already stated they're changing it. They're going to
You're not going to see it in multiples like you would a Control the Week or Market Dis. So you're probably going to see
it'll
one.
be like,
and it's rare, so you're not going to see it often.
No. That's why I want them to keep the core of what the card does, because I think, like, there's people a long time ago, like, the value of Control the Weak is fantastic. It just probably shouldn't have been a common. Like, most of us can most likely agree with that, having played as many games as we had. Like, it probably should have been uncommon or whatever. And a lot of people say the same thing
Just
about
like
Infernus.
Infernus, yep.
Infernus probably should have been an uncommon. Like, in and of itself, it is a great card. It gets a little bit ridiculous when you have 3, 4, 5 of them. So it probably should have been uncommon. Yet for whatever reason, we limit, crappy cards like Binding Irons only being 2.
Right.
Like, whatever. Like, I don't think it would have mattered that much if they had 4 or whatever.
I mean, there's probably, like, if you had 4 or 5 of them, there's those games where you draw them real early and your opponent just gets slowed down to nothing and they don't have fun. So,
right.
I
But
think
again,
then you
rare.
reverse time them back to the top of your deck.
yeah!
Play 'em again!
Give them all the chains!
Bring back library access. Oh, I was out of place there. I'm sorry, guys.
I mean, like, but that's as likely as somebody. Well, maybe it's not. It's in the same vein as somebody resty locking you, like turn 1 or 2. Like,
it is.
This
Yeah,
stuff
it is.
happens. It's how the thing is designed.
Getting that many at the top of your deck is more rare than just randomly locking them with restrictions.
All right.
That happens more frequently than people think. But anyway.
When
Felt
token
like
creatures
Sheep
leave
blocked
pay-
me a lot when we were playing the other day, Sheep. I don't know. He just kept
You
bringing them
said you
back.
wanted to have fun, and I said no. I'm not going to permit that.
Oh, that is exactly like Tuesday with what I played.
This is why we play Heart of the Forest.
Oh,
Right. Opened and sealed, my friends. Draz, how did you feel about that? Don't worry, my friends. I had artifact removal with Grasping Vines. I also had a key cheat, so it could win.
No, it was
I had
still
neither.
inappropriate.
I had
It
neither
also
of them.
went. It was a 60 SAS deck, and it went 3-0. And to be honest, 2 of those games I did not need the hearts at all. I played the hearts and returned it to get amber. So think outside the box. Don't just look at an individual card and say
Nope.
it's out.
You should have just thrown the deck away and forfeited.
Yeah,
Don't throw it away. I'll take it. You could
You
put
should
them
have
on.
morals. You should
in
have
the fire
morals.
pit, and you turn it on.
No, you can send it my way. I'll make sure.
No.
I'll make sure it gets sleeved. Burned for you. All right. When token creatures leaves play for any reason, it is moved to the appropriate out of play zone as if it were a creature. Usually, this is the owner's discard pile. Once the token creature, see, I like. Usually, this is the owner's discard pile. I guess it could go back to. Oh, does that
You
mean
could
if you bounce it? Hold
You
on.
can.
If you bounce it, does it go to their hand?
Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Once the
Bounce
token
is gonna
creature is out of
be
play zone,
interesting.
it reverts to its printed card type and ceases to be a token creature. I'm not sure. There was one really important part that Dan focused on, and maybe it's in the next one. So every Winds of Exchange deck is generated from a set of algorithms and then subject to validation checks. The full process is quite complex, but here is a simple explanation for how a deck's token creature is determined. The algorithm determines which 3 houses will be included in the deck. 12 cards are chosen from each of the 3 houses following a detailed set of rules. If the deck's list includes a rare card that is paired with a specific token creature, a circumstance known as token override, then that specific token creature is automatically included in the deck at the expense of all other creature options. If the deck contains no token overrides, the algorithm then chooses a token creature from one of the deck's 3 houses. This selection is weighed towards the house in the deck that has the most effects related to token creatures.
Ooh.
Did you want me to stop there, or do you want me to
Yes.
keep going? Because we can keep going.
No,
Is there only like a sentence left?
There's
No.
it's like a couple sentences, so I'll just go. The deck is then validated to ensure that it is unique and does not contain any card combinations that would be deemed invalid. If a deck does not pass all of its validation checks, it is automatically discarded and will not get printed. We can't wait to see what you do with token creatures. I don't know where that little bit, maybe it was up here in the spoilers section where it explained that token creatures aren't played, they come into play.
Yeah, they're put into play effects, not play effects, which
Right.
is or play, which is interesting, which
awesome.
means no token will ever have a play effect because it would never trigger.
It also
And
isn't
it-
affected by Life Ward,
Or Quixelstone.
Quixelstone.
Aliga.
It also means creating tokens doesn't count towards rule of sixing.
Oh, that is true. I
But
actually
using them
didn't
later
think of that one.
would.
What?
I doubt there's going to be any crazy like token looping, but I didn't think about that one.
I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
do some sort of loop. You play out all your cards from your deck, and then you archive them all. I don't know. I just made that up.
Now, I mean, you can't take any rules we're saying here as the absolute rule of the game because, I mean, none of us are certified. Plus, they're going to release a new rule book. So they said. So, like, everything is subject to change here. There is no, like, this article isn't a list of rules, it's some concepts. So, there's nothing set. And it says a player cannot play and or use the same card and or other copies of that card by title more than 6 times in a turn. So put into play gets around things that say you cannot play.
They could definitely generate more than 6 of these a turn, but you could still not use a token more than 6 token
Yes,
creatures. a
right.
turn. Yeah.
Once
does
you
that
reap
mean
6
if I
token
have-
creatures, you're done.
I say if that means I have 10 tokens, I can only use 6 of them.
That
Yes.
seems correct.
So now we're back to we want tokens, but not too many.
I mean, there's one token that the whole goal is to get 10 of them.
Mm-hmm.
We've already talked about it. Like, we
I-
don't want 10
life.
of those.
I also see that if we have 10 tokens, because they're coming from different houses, it can it can impact your distribution for how your deck is going to cycle. You can also have, let's say 10, because that's a number that's just thrown out. They kill off a couple on their turn, and then you reap with 6. That's a key right there. So by having more, okay, you don't get a chance to use it, but I think there will be components in this game for making or generating tokens. That's going to be great. I wouldn't.
Reap?
Yeah, reap is it's part
Reaping
of
with
1/6.
6 tokens would
It's a key.
probably happen if you were making them with the house that had the most tokens and then going into the house with the least tokens and reaping. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. So where Z was talking, I think that was the big paragraph for me.
Yep.
I would have liked to have seen it slanted in a different direction. So if the deck contains no token overrides the algorithm, then choose a token creature from one of the deck's 3 houses. This selection is weighted towards the house in the deck that has the most effects related to token creatures.
What if
I
you
want
have
to
a
see
deck-
the least.
What
the
if you
least
have
is what I
what if
want.
you have a deck that doesn't do anything with tokens?
That's going to be. I wonder because the way it reads to me is then you won't get a token creature, and then so there may
That
be a.
Is not how that is saying that.
That's
yeah,
how
I
it
don't
reads
think
to
so
me.
Well, and
But-
I kind of like let's say you get a deck that just does 0 interactions with tokens, just none.
So I
What token do
wonder
you get?
if it just doesn't make a token
you-
then, and it won't
you're-
have a token.
You're going to get a token.
It just
Well,
it doesn't matter, guys. It's the same as an MM deck that has no enhancement.
No, it is
A
not.
little different.
You're
That's-
not making token creatures, so it doesn't matter.
right, but do
the
I
set-
get what token is it going to assign me if I don't have
None.
the cards that
Well,
do
that's
anything?
what I'm
with
saying.
tokens?
It does
Essentially
matter because if
none.
someone plays corner of the market on you, you make a token.
Well, except Corner of the Market doesn't do what you think it does, but there are plenty of other cards already spoiled in the set that let you play cards from your opponent's hand, which
Yep.
means it's quite likely you're going to be able to steal. It's likely you'll be able to steal play token effects. So if it actually works that way, where a Winds of Exchange deck that has no token generating cards, which seems feasibly possible, but yeah, we don't know. We don't know all the cards. We don't know the algorithm. It could be part of the algorithm. One of their validations is has token creature. No, pitch it. Right. That might just be one of the steps.
That's not nearly
but
as fun, though.
I think it would be like a kind of a cool rare collector based off of potential rarity, where you get one that doesn't have it, and then it's got that weird looking front card, but just like a blank circle or something, where it looks like a weird error. I think they'd be cool collectors.
It's just a picture of Christian Peterson.
Yep.
Giving you the finger?
He's his own token. Yeah, you got the booby deck. Congrats.
So I think it would be fun, but it wouldn't be good, right? But I buy enough decks, I don't care if I get some bad ones that are silly. That makes fun. Like, I have no enhancement MM decks, and they're often actually just fine. So
some go in the shredder bin.
Lots go in the shredder bin of everything.
So I think that for me, what is more interesting to be able to look at is how many of these token generating cards are going to be in each house. What slot are they going to be able to fall at? Is it common, uncommon, rare? Is that going to be even? Because if it's not even, let's say even in the common slots, then all of a sudden your token generating, like if you end up, let's say Mars has more token generating cards as an example, that means that the Mars tokens will show up more often. And so that's the information I want to see as we look at the set.
Yeah, that is interesting with the way they have said it leans towards one thing. That means you're right. The rarity they assign to the token generating cards, which are all game designers, so I don't think they're going to mess that up. But they could, right? Like, you're not wrong in that they could mess that up. But I think my guess is that you will see that there are 5 commons that say token and 4, whatever it is, and that'll be pretty consistent across houses, and the only place you'll see much variation is in the rares.
Well, we have 2 things going on here, right? Like, as far as we can tell, the algorithm that is being built now is being made by GG, right?
Yep.
Because the FFG one was gone. However, we knew that FFG made the set. There's a pretty good chance that these are 2 different decision-making processes.
Things are screwed up. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll go back.
We don't know if FFG was going to do this process. If they weren't planning on doing this algorithm-based slant towards the highest token rate and just leaving it to the truer algorithm just randomly assigning a token, they would have had no reason to design parity in the number of token generating by common, uncommon, rarity, etc. across the houses. Because one thing we know for sure is in the older sets, there wasn't a whole lot of power balance from house to house to house. Hence, Worlds Collide Brobnar. Case in point. It's just real bad.
Or take logos from any set.
Yeah, it's just good.
It's just good.
Yeah, because we knew different people were designing different houses. That was a thing. They did it. They talked about it. We move on. So, if FFG designed it the way they designed all their other sets and never intended to do this, and GG wants to do this because thematically, it does kind of make sense thematically, that might not be in balance. So that could be what JR is saying. We could see a disparity in the number of decks printed that are, we've already seen a lot of spoiled cards that are Mars generating tokens. We could have a ton of Mars tokens. Who knows?
And we know that they're changing rules, right? The whole 1 power generic token creature, that was a rule change that GG made.
Maybe. This is
well,
based off a rumor.
No,
there's
there were multiple playtesters.
Yeah, there's a Ghost Galaxy reply to a question about that.
Yeah. Hi, Jonathan, right? So this is JM, right? Yep. Thank you for talking to us about Wings of Exchange. The concept of any Keyforge deck being able to make a generic 1-power token creature that can be used as if it belonged to the active house was part of an earlier design for Winds of Exchange. FFG did playtest this concept, but when Ghost Galaxy assumed control of Keyforge, the Winds of Exchange card pool and its accompanying rule set were not in the final form. Ghost Galaxy is finishing the design and development process on Winds of Exchange started by FFG. Finishing the work involves making changes to the set we feel are necessary to make the product excellent. Some cards, such as Corner of the Market, are being reworked. Thank you again. Michael Hurley, Ghost Galaxy.
Yeah, notice it was from Michael Hurley there. This is letters from Peterson, and now you have Michael Hurley. So, little sub-segment.
Again, I do appreciate that they are communicating with the community. That is huge. I just hope that they keep the original power level intent behind Corner of the Market, which was referenced there. But I do get the change. Like if there is a mechanic that's being changed, like, but that kind of does go along with what I'm saying. Like there are, I mean, some things that could be changed that were not based on how the set was designed, which could impact other things, which we won't know until it's printed.
It could certainly be crazy and borked, but I don't think that's likely to happen.
But so far, the only thing that I've heard that like I wish wasn't a thing was the token being from the house that is weighted to generate the most. Because like when you play this game, when you play Keyforge, it's just the natural rate of play to not call consecutive houses. So if I have, say, I have 3 houses and one house is generated, has 5 cards that generate tokens, one card, the house has 3, and then one is 0, my deck is going to be a lot more powerful if the token that I'm playing with is in the house that doesn't generate tokens. Because when I go to play that house, I already have the tokens generated from the other 2 houses. And then I actually get to use the tokens combined with my hand of 4 cards or whatever.
So that
like
is
the pace of play is better that
definitely
way.
the truth, especially when you think about Coda and a lot of AoA decks. That has changed quite a bit more in MM and Worlds Collide.
It's changed some, but
where you can actually play a board that you actually want to reuse, and this is going to push it a little bit more towards that way, which will make that goofy artifact that came out in the last set where you can't call the same house twice.
Oh, the Uber something device.
The Uber device.
Yeah,
that'll make that card maybe a little more, because this set, and it's something that under FFG, and we'll see if Ghost Galaxies continues, but it seems like they have been, since Coda, pushing it to more of a board-centric game and pushing it away from ridiculous action economy hand deck things. So
and to some extent, we saw that in AoA too. Like ever since Coda, the average creature per set, like in a deck, has gone up. I didn't look at what it was from MM to Dark Tidings.
I still think
the other ones.
AoA was just poorly designed, and they're like, "Oh, creatures are good because we like to play Sanctum."
We heard
they all said they like to play Sanctum.
Yes, we also heard from the horse's mouth that the whole idea Coda was supposed to focus on what the houses were really, really good at, which I'm like, oof. If this is what Sanctum's really, really good at, well, they're going to struggle. And then it was supposed to be their quote unquote. So the whole idea in the beginning, I'm guessing in Coda, was each house had its own identity. Brobnar wanted to fight Sanctum. Nobody really knows. Dis was just, good. And then the secondary, the AoA was designed on their secondary abilities, quote unquote. You can go back and listen to that.
Right, there is a Call of Discovery podcast recently released where they had an interview with an ex-FFG employee, and supposedly there's a bunch of good information regarding stuff that they never told us. It's worth a listen. I haven't had a chance yet.
Yeah, I have to check that out. I just downloaded it today.
So.
All right, should we go to spoiler territory?
Do it.
Sure.
All right, obligatory spoiler warning, Mr. Z.
All right, thank you all for joining us to listen to our cast. If you are not interested in spoilers, we will see you next week, and thanks for listening. If you are, let's go.
All right, looks like we got 3 this week. Grunt was already spoiled before, but we got Photon Blast, which is a Star Alliance action play. Deal 2 damage to a creature with 1 splash. If this damage destroys 1 or more creatures, make a token creature.
Biggest thing here for me is it doesn't have a pip, right? Like,
Yeah. It's interesting.
like Star Alliance cards that don't have pips are kind of sad sometimes. We've all been there when we're playing what is it? The Hadron Collision or whatever, does 3 damage, ignores wards and armor and all that.
Takes the
Like
ward
playing
off.
that card and not getting a pip is always frustrating to me. I think this falls in that line. However, probably the most important, because we were just talking about this, this is a common card that does generate a token, and it's pretty easy to kill a creature as long as you're dealing 2 damage.
Or you got a bunch of 1-power tokens out, you could destroy 3.
I mean, especially in set, right? If you're playing against another set 6 deck, you're gonna have things to kill that are 2s and 1s because they will have
even out of set, you've got
yeah.
Kirby's, you've got all sorts of good stuff that
Like,
you
There's a
would
lot of
definitely want to make
Well,
go poof.
And it's also a creature. It's not opponent's creature. It's not enemy creature. You can kill your own stuff with this if you really need to. So this is a pretty solid common
Blorp
trigger
fuel.
for token. Yep.
Blorp fuel.
Yep. So I like that we're seeing, again, another card that is almost unstoppably generating a token as an action on common. I really wish it had a pip, though. Next.
Brawl in. This is a Barabnar card. It is an action play. Make 2 token creatures and rage them.
Yeah, feeling a little mediocre. Again, missing the pip, right? This is a
Yeah.
card that feels like it could have a pip too. I don't know. Make 2 token creatures, enrage them. Like, I
They're
don't
gonna
know.
die when they fight, right?
It's an uncommon.
It's uncommon. I think we need to see the other Brobnar tokens before we kind of jump in, but this seemed really mediocre.
Have we
at
seen a
best.
Brobnar token?
This is super
not yet.
like token dependent to me.
Goblin.
Like
Oh,
I
no,
know
we saw
overall-
1, didn't we? Did we see 1?
I
Yeah.
thought there was one of each.
I thought we saw
2-power
1 of
skirmish.
each.
Oh, there's actually a 4th kind of spoiler we can talk about here in a second.
All right,
With Roggins?
So
Yeah.
I went to Arcana. So
Yeah.
and there's Goblin that was there. So that was
Goblin,
the
that's the one.
2-power token creature Goblin Skirmish.
Oh,
But-
okay.
But remember, we have 28, so there should be 3 others that are coming.
Yeah. Yep. 3 other
Hopefully.
Brobnar.
All right. Let's go on to Nyan Outpost. Is this like Nyan Cat?
Nyan.
Nobody?
Oh.
No.
No,
Okay,
there are no rainbows.
Nobody remembers the Pop-Tart cat that shit rainbows? Just me? Okay, cool. Anyways, it is a Mars artifact. Action, put a friendly creature on the bottom of its owner's deck. If you do, make 2 token creatures.
I like
Kind of like this.
Yeah, I don't hate this card at all.
I mean,
you
like,
get to put back a good card back into your deck if you need it, and it makes more tokens.
Well, if it has a good play effect, I think that's a high target.
Right.
Or
So-
if it's, maybe your Ember Control.
Well, you're
or
putting
something,
back your
know.
other token creatures that you
Yeah, you're
go,
putting
oh
back
my
your-
gosh, my Amber Control just became a
Yeah.
token creature. We'll
That's-
stick him
that's-
back in.
But you can pick token creatures. You can pick something if it has good play effect. There's lots of options here, which I
Yes.
like the flexibility.
yeah,
Yes, lots
I
of
think they
options.
already hit it on the head. The most important thing here is like, did your best late game card get flipped as a token? Oh, hey, I'm going to outpost it to the bottom of my deck, get 2 more creatures, and now I know for a fact my end game key cheat, my stealth mode equivalent type card is on the bottom of my deck now, ready to close it out.
We just
And
need to
it
make
did
sure
not
we can play it.
Yeah.
This,
Yeah.
If you're out of set,
Yep.
you just cry.
yeah. Well, if you're out of set, what do you care? You steal a card that doesn't do anything. I mean, that happens all the time.
Yeah, you don't snack lift
I-
this.
I
Right?
was going to say, you're not snuck lifting it, but if you do like a poltergeist or something as to
But
that.
you can
where
still put friendly
I mean,
creatures on the bottom of your
sure.
deck. Which
Yeah.
Yeah.
might
Choga
have a
down there.
use.
Like,
I'll put
yeah.
bone knitting on
Your
the bottom.
Infernus's.
Uh-huh.
for sure. This, if you are playing token creatures and you already have token creatures out, and assuming you're not worried about red alert style effects or anything effect that you having more creatures is negative, like if you already have token creatures out, there's just almost no negative in this card. Okay, I use my board, and then I take one of those tokens, I put it on the bottom, and now I make 2 more. So it's just like more creatures. Yay! And
All right, here you go. Here you go.
artifact,
Dark
so it's out.
Tidings. What is it? Hoodwink, or what's the Shadows card where you use that? I can't remember.
Hornswoggle.
Hornswoggle. You can Hornswoggle Outpost to put a card on the bottom of your deck, and then you can Deep Discovery.
There you
Dark
go.
Tidings.
There you go.
There's the use for it.
You
outside
Deep
of that.
Discovery their deck, though, and you're putting a card on your deck, so I don't think it.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
But
a point. Nope,
it's
that doesn't work either.
this. I like, and I do like that this is an artifact, in that once
hard
it's
to deal
on the board, it's out of cycle. Like you don't have to play it again and again and again.
Mhm.
And it is coming at an uncommon as well. So
And it is coming from balance sheet. So if you like the art, you can get it on a playmat.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
now
Can you hold up? Because doesn't balance sheets now work for FFG?
he does.
Is he allowed to use Keyforge? I don't know. I guess I don't know.
He was, even when he took that job, from what I recall, he could still work art jobs for other places,
Elsewhere?
I believe.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
And like he was the, I don't know, lead art whatever for this
Director.
set. So I guess who knows now how the art laws go with Keyforge.
I'm interested. Not really.
Who's
I would-
excited about Groggins coming back?
I'm so excited.
Groggins.
So
Well, I will
excited.
say
I'm not.
before we get off Nyland Outpost, there was a little bit of controversy around it, and that had to do with the number. So there ended up being 2 numbers, 166. So again, we know that GG is going ahead and potentially shifting cards around, or there's some modification to cards that have already been released.
So I think
Do
the
we think
other
that we did the
160
something's happening.
the other 166 was a physical picture, right? Like a picture of a physical card.
I don't remember. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know what the.
Oh,
I'm
the
looking
Iron
right
X
now.
Rebel.
Yeah,
so
we
it's
can
one
go
of
to
it's one of the
spoilers.
token creatures.
Oh yeah, Iron X Rebel. He's a token.
No, he's just a regular creature.
Oh,
Deploy, ready each of Iron X Rebel's Mars neighbors.
But that is a picture of like a physical. That art is from FFG time. I'm almost certain, like the way that card came
was
about.
that the spoiler? What was the spoiler they gave us when they're like, "Don't worry, Keyforge will be back, guys. Here's a spoiler." Was that it?
So looking at
Rebel is from the Game Found campaign.
from
Oh, it was
Archon,
Rick.
Arcana.
It was Borka Rick. Borka Rick. Remember when they released? the
Yeah,
article
that was
saying,
like
"Oh,
100
hiatus"?
years ago. We got him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Iron
maybe-
Rick's Rebel. I mean, you can clearly see 166, and
Oh, if he's
here,
from the Game Found campaign.
yeah, but you can see clearly here that matches the same number. So something's happening. We got to keep an
Yeah.
eye on that.
So-
and
I think the big thing when you actually look at the zoom up of that card is it's got an FFG copyright tag on it. So
Yes, it
that
does.
image was generated by FFG at a time when they were still under set development. So they've already said they've changed things from what FFG had designed. So, like there is definitely this dual number thing. So there's anything that's came from FFG time, even our Boca Rico guy, he could not exist anymore. It could have been
Sure.
like, nope, that card's poo-poo, and we don't want it in the set. Get it out.
But both of those cards have FFG tags.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
that
do
meant-
see they have FFG.
Yeah.
That's interesting too. Ha!
That could just
is
be evidence
weird.
that, again, FFG didn't know what the hell they were.
Yeah.
Well,
But I think you have stuff, art created from FFG before they are doing their set rebuild. Because the closed door negotiation card, wasn't that a physically seen card at the Gen Con booth? So that's probably just some stuff they got from FFG when they bought it, like stuff they'd already printed for playtesting.
Yeah, some of those digital assets
Mm.
like are very like FFG-esque, the way they would like fan their cards out and all that. I always said FFG
Right.
needed a new like art, like whoever did their product pictures, like just I did not enjoy their work. But you know, because it was always like this handful of cards lumped together, and it was like, ugh, it looks kind of just very, ugh. Very
Well,
drab. Very drab.
I think that goes ahead and allows you to preview some of it, some speculation as to what the rest of the card could be. I see what they were trying to go ahead and do there. So
I like this because now every time we see a card we don't like, we'll be like, well, maybe it's not a real spoiler.
I just point out the facts because there was a little controversy. I'm curious to see how it turns out and what we end up with, but I'm
I
excited.
have hope now. Maybe Groggins really isn't in set.
No, no,
That would be the
Yeah,
best part.
Groggins
of that.
is- well,
not-
if Might Make Right's in set, I can live with the Groggins.
I would love a playable Might Makes Right. That would be real good.
I do like that card.
I mean,
Ew.
there's a really good shot with just Brobnar's luck. There's a really good shot. Groggins is in set. Just
Yes,
saying.
because he
The-
sucks.
Yeah.
Just saying.
If Groggins in set, maybe we'll get back Balder too. Jesus.
Ooh,
Balder.
and Lollop.
And
Wow.
Troll.
Lollop had to use.
Yeah, might makes right.
Eh.
Or
yeah.
the flex. Those were your uses for Lollop.
Yep.
That was it.
What?
All right, couple more
So what
spoilers.
about? Yeah. What?
Say a couple
what
more
about this-
spoilers. Drascore, you were trolling in other servers. Tell us what you
Yes. So
found.
I've got. Well, all right. So let me hold my notes here. So
Drascore
yes. So I
was-
jotted down some notes from some things that were said on a different server, Sanctimonious server, that supposedly came from some of the playtesters, possibly during the FFG era. So who knows if these are changed? Who knows if these are even real in the first place? But let's speculate. Why not? So what caught my attention was somebody claimed that, oh, I've seen the unfathomable token, the cultist. And supposedly it says action, destroy 5 friendly token creatures and play that guy we were talking about last time.
Tangaika? No, not Tangaika.
Yeah, Tenkakak or whatever the heck his name was.
Godzilla.
It's
Tangaika. Like,
Tangaika. So Tangaika.
right. So play him like from your discard pile or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah, being that he
So
can't be played from hand.
yeah, so I guess you have to have 5. Having to have 5 of these guys out seems like a lot. I guess maybe if you had 4 out and reaped with them and then sacrificed and played this guy, that's 6 Ember. But seems like a lot of machinations to get this guy out.
Is it you had to start your turn with 5 of them? What was it?
No.
You had to.
Right, so I guess you only have to have 1 ready.
You have to, I was say, didn't you have to destroy one? I thought you said you had to destroy them too.
Yeah, you have to destroy 5.
But it's an action.
Oh,
Destroy 5
okay.
friendly token creatures.
Creatures.
So in
Yeah,
theory,
so
you only
that's
need
kind of
1
what
ready.
we thought
Yeah.
it would be.
Mhm.
And then I'm pretty sure we said it is only going to be any good if that was an Omni effect.
Yeah.
Here's
So
a
yeah,
question.
this is going to be bad. So that's fine.
If I steal a token creature, does it become my token
Yes.
creature, or does
Yes.
it stay their token creature?
It's your token creature, but if it was to be bounced, it goes back to their hand, just like any
No.
token creature.
That's not what I'm talking. Like,
Collar subordination is what.
yes, if I collar or hypno beam,
it should
like,
become.
well-
it should stay on yours.
Well,
it should stay whatever token it is.
According
Yeah.
to the
Why they
article we just read,
Oh,
token creatures
so-
behave exactly like normal creatures when they're in play. They can be used to reap, fight,
Yeah.
and for their printed abilities. Each token creature can also be independently affected by damage or status conditions such as stun and enrage. Effects that target creatures
Yeah.
can target
that's
token creatures.
that's really kind of the point of the art. So if you steal somebody's token creature, you know which one it is. which again works fine because most people aren't playing identical sleeves to their opponent. But that'll be an interesting game when you start stealing
that's what I'm saying.
creatures
Like you have a
with
whole bunch
identical
of
sleeves.
face down cards that mean nothing to you other than
Yeah.
If I
reference card.
hypno beam his token, do I get to look at the card?
Yeah, you control it.
Right?
Yeah.
That
So
sounds
Yes.
feasible.
Yes, I would say yes. And then if you can find a way to purge your own creature, go for it.
Oubliettes in set. Yes.
Yeah, Oubliette just becomes the best Shadows card in set 1.
all right, you got another one here.
Collar to Oubliette. All right, I know you got one more, right?
One more. So this is a Sanctum action. It's called, but I think it's a translation. So it's something like Knight Recruitment or something like that. And it says for every knight in play, or a player controls, actually, sorry, they create a token creature.
That's a good card.
That's consistent with
Does
at
it
least that's
have a pip?
consistent with that house.
I don't know. All I have is the words.
Ooh, we haven't seen any token creatures with pips yet. That'd be interesting if if there was a
They're-
token creature
they're
out there that
not.
had a pip.
They're
But
definitely
it doesn't
not.
matter. They're not played, Wookie.
That's
They're
true.
not.
They
Yeah.
come into play. You are correct.
Yeah, but like
mind.
the night thing could be really good because like lots of decks in every set that Sanctum exists in easily generate like 6 to 8 night decks.
Yep.
So assuming that stays
So-
in place,
Oh,
playing one card and generating more than 2 tokens is
Yeah,
huge.
so it is
But I do think
depressing
this
that
is-
the
this is
squire
symmetric.
is a human. I wonder if there will be a night token, a nighty night.
Probably.
If that card exists, I doubt there's going to be an actual night token because that would be
Squire
like,
Knight
I'm going to
Lord?
create
Oh.
like what? You're creating 10 more tokens on top of the one? Like that'd be crazy.
At some point though, like so say knights are what? Let's see, our squire is just a 2-power taunt human. So say a knight is a 3-power 1 armor creature. That's the generic token for knight. Sounds pretty
mean,
good. That sounds really
ho-
good actually. 'cause
Hopefully
that's-
they wouldn't make things something empirically better than Grunt in every way. Like so let's hope that that's not it. Maybe
Okay,
a 2/2, a
I-
1/3.
well, there's already a 2/2.
What is
Not in
that?
token form.
I
You have Goblin, which is a
Squire,
2-power, Merchant, which is a 1-power, Scout, which is a 1-power.
I thought they already had a 2/2. Okay, maybe they
Lord
don't.
is
Squires
1,
too.
Grunt is 3, Rebel 1, Scientist
You're right.
1.
So the knight would be 2/1. That's what they probably. Anyways, if they made a knight, so even if you have 6 knights and then you made 6 more knights, who cares? Like how many? At some point, it doesn't really matter how many creatures when you rule a
is
system.
Epic Quest in set?
Well, that's a thing. But here is that some of that stuff is really interesting because like Annihilation Ritual says after a creature enters the discard, purge it. But it enters the discard as a creature, but once it's actually in the discard, it's no longer a creature, and I don't think Annihilation Ritual will purge it. Is it Annihilation Ritual? I got the right card?
Yeah.
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 Right? And here's like where the rules get goofy. I don't think it actually purges a token creature when it hits there, but the one where you gain an amber every time a creature is destroyed will.
Yeah,
'Cause it's weird
still
'cause it-
destroyed.
Enters, like a creature enters the discard, but I don't think it's, and I mean like fantasy flight timing rules were wonkadoo, but like I expect that to change, but I think it's going to enter, but the token creature is never in the graveyard. Right? So you definitely can't exhume it, right? Because it's no longer a token creature.
Yeah, it would
Well,
go
so
to its out of play.
That's going to be
area.
interesting because there are some of those things where like it says, do an effect, and if it gets to the place, something else happens.
Can I exhume?
And they
Tangite?
lose their identity once they get to the place, which means they don't trigger some of those kinds of effects. That's
Yes,
that's
you
my
The
understanding of the
dest-
rules.
Yeah, the destroyed effects. Will they trigger or will they not?
You cannot exhume Tangika because this is not in set.
But there are plenty of cards that allow me to take a card from my opponent's hand and use it.
This is true.
So,
Yeah, the
So
only
that's-
restriction on Tangika is it cannot be played from your hand. If you're playing it any other way, you're good.
and in Furnace being meta, there's definitely exhumes. How
right?
how does bait and switch still neuter the way it is, but yet Infernus is still just allowed to run around?
They're not going to go back.
Because the world's burning.
Wait, explain this to me. How is this thing real?
Because one bait and switch
No,
is
Wookie, we do not want more
retarded
cards
hammer.
nerfed. We want the opposite. So don't say
You're
anything
right.
about
so
anything else being nerfed.
bait and switch. Hashtag. I want everybody to use it. Hashtag unnerf bait and switch. That might be a long one, but
hashtag mute Wookie.
hashtag you can do whatever you'd like.
Hey, that's another deck name. Mute Wookie.
Mute
Mute
Wookie.
Yeah.
That's fine. I still have
And-
my
and-
X-ray sucks decks.
And
Yeah.
on Tuesday we came up with, what was it? Dark Ewok.
Dark Ewok.
Oh, no.
That's
Mm.
that's
Yeah,
Ewoks.
We're just we're coming up with names for this game found.
So did you
Raw
guys
better.
see the discussion on like Sherman?
yeah.
Sherman.
Sherman.
Yes, the DT. So when you play Sherman, it takes all of the creatures, basically eats them, puts them in an out of play area, and then when Sherman is destroyed, then those creatures come back into play in a different area. And the question really is, what's going to happen, because they're token creatures.
So once they are in Sherman, they lose their token identity. Because
And then
anytime
they
they are not in play, they lose their token identity,
And then they would go to the discard pile.
but they're still purged.
So
they're
here's
purged.
what I
Oh,
think.
yeah.
I think now you've got some creatures. They just come into play as those creatures. Now your actions, your artifacts, your upgrades, right? Those are not creatures, so they can't be played in that way. So they have to return to Sherman, but Sherman's dead, and so you just have to tear the cards up.
Oh, yeah.
Shredder becomes
Sherman
real.
Shred.
they just dissolve into the ether.
I mean,
Now-
I could see it. So the cards come back, you playing them on their face type. Creatures are played. Anything that's an action or an artifact, frankly, just gets put in the discard pile.
But that's never what's happened. It's always gone back to hand.
It's gone back to the zone.
wait,
where it came from.
I think
Wild
it's a
World.
big
Cards-
question, but I was saying
cards
what
go
Draspo was
back-
saying.
If a card can't do something, it goes back to where it was coming from. That is what's happening.
Yes. And action cards can never be in play. So
Yes.
So where do they go? Like it
Back
is
to
it is
Sherman.
definitely
I
a
think
goofy
like
thing.
GG's gonna have to rule on this, but right now, based on the words that like the rules we have from FFG, I think the purged card, like I think the tokens would not be affected by Sherman. They would try to go to this zone. They can't physically be there. They would return back to play.
Oh, I see.
Per the
I
rules
think
that we
they
have
can
right now.
definitely be in the zone. I think they can definitely get purged,
The danger zone?
but then they lose their identity. And it does. It gets really goofy.
Well, like I'm not saying tokens can't be purged. I think they can be purged, and then that card becomes its real self, which is in a purge zone, which
This
is there.
is Cheetah Meaties
Yeah.
all over again.
But because of what Sherman is doing, it's not a real purge zone. This is that fake zone we were talking about. I don't know if it was a chatter before the cast or whatever. So I think there's a chance they would have FFG would have ruled that they would just stay in play as token. I don't know what GG's going to.
It is definitely a goofy rule that I will actually need a call on
Yes.
what's going to happen.
Well, because like we
GG
were
will
talking
have
about
to make a call.
this earlier, like Sherman should have never said purged. It should have been they are placed under Sherman, it like just like that other card is Spangler Box. Like
Yes,
as
and we
they
don't-
were,
Or
and
say
create
graft.
a new zone.
And because we don't actually have token rules yet, we just have a few notes. We don't know what actually happens to tokens when they would go to unnamed zones.
Like purge. Yeah. We don't know for sure what a purge token does.
Right. It sounds, I mean, like, from what it sounds like, it goes there, it flips over, it becomes its regular old card, and it just sits over there to be universal recycle binned.
Yep.
Yeah, with your no logos, so never mind. But it is definitely some
Weirdness there. Yep.
weirdness there. There are still some weirdness FAQ stuff that they're gonna have to do to explain
Because,
how it
like,
works, which
The
is gonna
Spangler
make
Box would have the same problem. Like it
Yep,
does the same
for
thing.
sure. And it's going to make programming this for TCO a lot of fun, I bet.
Programming Sherman initially was annoying.
Are we
Well,
sure that Winds of
probably.
Exchange wasn't the set that broke the algorithm? Because it just seems like Winds of Exchange, and then everything just went no poof and just disappeared.
No, I think it's because they named the previous set Dark Tidings. Just doomed themselves.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I don't know. It just seems like there's a whole lot of questions now that these token creatures are coming, and there's a whole lot of things that interact with creatures. And now we have creatures that aren't creatures.
I want to know if they're going to start producing wider mats and give us more play space in OP events, because
Each player gets an 8-foot table.
I have a couple decks that already do that, and
I already got a scroll to the right on some of my games on TCO.
Those are physically hard to play in real life. If every deck in a set is like that, that's going to be an adjustment, because that's a lot of cards.
You're gonna have to get real chummy with your neighbors. I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna have to borrow your playmat here for a little bit.
We literally just talked about a single Sanctum card that may be able to produce 4 to 6 more creatures on your board when you already had 4 to 6.
Not to mention, we have no idea if there's any sort of recursion for that action cards that you can now create even more.
We are talking about a lot of play space on your average game.
I mean, and put into play is different than playing. So then now if I have 6, I can now have 12. I can create another 6.
Yeah,
because I can just create. I can create as many as I like.
And Brobnar used to have knights too, so that card could actually be generating knights from Sanctum and Brobnar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
if they somehow find their way into this set, yeah, they sure could.
Yeah,
this is gonna get nuts.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel.
I think it's gonna be super fun. So
I'm all sorts of tangled up inside.
I'm near the excitement level I had as when we were first talking about the MM cards, because the enhancements were super exciting to me. I don't think we've seen as much because in MM we got enhancements, we got sins, we got big creatures. So far we've gotten the tokens and the keyed up, the special token assignments to, we have Blorb. So far we have the tokens in that. I'm hoping there's gonna be one more thing, like sins or whatever, like that.
Some sort of gimmick.
Yeah, some of those, they're all fun, right? All of them are fun. Some of them have been really powerful, like the Time Traveler one. The sins actually are pretty good.
It's gonna be Saints. That's what's gonna be it. The Saints in
they're gonna come marching in.
Yeah, in Sanctum. They got the sins came and disc, so the Saints are gonna come in Sanctum.
Sanctum had that thing back in AOA that sucked. The
what? Shards?
Disciples or no? It was a Sanctum
ambassadors.
Oh, the ambassadors.
Yes, the ambassadors. They're ambassador of whatever house, and then but they sucked because they're 1 power,
and they did nothing but die.
Typically,
because they were 1 power.
Right.
Yep.
All right, guys. I think that's gonna do it for us this week. Moving into final thoughts. I'm not sure I got up, so I'm just gonna call on Z first.
I'm still super excited, super pumped. I would love it if they redecided to not weight things towards the algorithm, but I'm still very excited to get my named deck. Take my money.
Draskor?
Yeah, just having a good time, playing all sorts of Keyforge games. Come out, play, get excited about the new set coming, and participate in Swindle, KFBL. We have been talking about the next full season of ABR, so that is going to be coming soon. So pay attention. Pay attention. Details to come.
I just like to say I went 4-2 in ABR. If anybody, just saying. Dan.
No thoughts. Play more Keyforge.
And Mr. Ewok.
I appreciate that Ghost Galaxy continues to give us information. Their communication has been stellar. I'm excited for what the future brings. I will also put out a plug for Kansas City. As of earlier this evening, I found out our good friend X-Ray is coming with us too. So we'll have another friend who will be there. Yes. the X-ray. So honestly,
Don't worry, X-Ray. I'll make sure Ewok comes over and helps me my game when we play.
Yeah.
anything that I can do to help Wookiee so he plays a stealth mode, man.
That's right. So I play my stealth mode and my Heart of the Forest. They're
But
not
no,
in the same set.
I'm excited to be able to have good friends from online to meet in person, to be able to hang out again. I know X-Ray I've met in person before, but it's just another good friend. So hopefully we'll have more podcast listeners, more individuals who are in our Discord who are following along. Continue to send in those why suck at Keyforge moments so we can put it in. That way, hopefully, Wookiee and, frankly, all of us
Listen,
won't have to go ahead and continue to put in why we suck.
I did that on purpose, just so we could have a segment. That's why I did it.
Oh, that's what I want. If anybody else has got cool email responses from Ghost Galaxies or Peterson, we have a channel. Put it in our channel so we can share all the cool knowledge that is getting created, but not necessarily widely shared.
Yep.
I will also say, when we're talking about sleeves, I will just have you take my money now for sleeves that match the token creatures. If they're not there for OP, I would love to see them as something that could be bought. So huge
I'm
opportunity.
Gonna use them to sleeve my non-token creature creating decks to see if I could
throw some people off.
Yeah, and create some tokens that I shouldn't.
Or just put the wrong one on.
Put the wrong one on. Oh, that is just like, we'll be like, all right, I'm going to sleeve them up with the destroyed effect guy so you'll never kill my tokens, even though they don't have that.
Oh my god, that's great.
And they're all action steel guys.
all your card backs are scout, but you have the grunt as your token, or blorb. You have blorbs. That's the ultimate blorb. They're not killing the scouts, but then you blorb them for a key. There you go.
I didn't tell you all my tokens are actually blurbs. My bad.
Why did you think they were
finagling in order to game the system? I love it, guys. Way to go!
Why did cheating? You're not trying. That's
Why did you think
that's
they
the
were
NASCAR
scout?
way.
Yeah, I don't know why you thought they were scout. Who said they were scout? I didn't. I mean, just because my sleeves.
The card here on the side clearly shows blurb.
That's right. That's right. I'm actually looking for those custom Dragon Shield sleeves right now.
So I'm going to say, come out, play still for each of our events. It was a great time playing on Tuesday, even though I pulled Heart of the Forest and it wasn't needed. And you can show that there are options. That deck for 60 sacks definitely outperformed. It was a lot of fun just being with all the guys and girls and being able to play some Keyforge. So get out, play in real life, play across the table, casual, play competitive, put on some opaque sleeves. Have some fun.
All right. With that being said, make sure you guys follow us over on the Twitter. I'm going to be releasing some pictures here soon. I didn't get to it today, but I have all the materials needed for what I'm going to do. So make sure you tune into the
AC bikini shoot.
That's right.
Yep.
Who told you? That wasn't.
When you asked for the pictures, it was pretty obvious.
Well, I mean, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. You can totally do this in Dragon Shield too. By the way, I just did it right now. Actually, it doesn't look half bad. But I'm going to be making some foil stuffs, including the tokens. You can kind of follow along there if that's something you're interested in. Not only that, the YouTubes. We've been doing a ton of content on the YouTube. So make sure you guys are over there liking, sharing, following, making sure all the algorithm steps are hit. That way we can get that shared out to a much broader and wider community. That would be awesome, and I think that would get a lot of people's eyes on Keyforge. Because there are still people, I'm in a Facebook group that's called the Dead CCGs, and somebody was just asking if Keyforge was dead. And I'm like, not yet. Hopefully not.
Not quite dead
Not
yet.
ever.
Not quite dead yet. Yes, you are. With that being said, that's going to do it for us this week. Thanks to everybody in the chat for listening early, and to all the people that help support the show. Talk to you guys later.
Happy Forge.
Forge on.
They looking at me like I'm fucking insane. Cause me and you ain't ever one in the same. Like a cut to the vein till you see that blood on the blade. I'm a sicko rap schizo, killing these instrumentals. The illest kid with a pencil make titties swing like a breaststroke. Beast mode like playing your PS3 with a cheat code. Or opening that door when you saw that the sign said keep closed. That sorta ish. Morbid, I'm shitting on him like porcelain.